give them incredible value because that's what will actually keep them coming back. Well, hey, friends, welcome back to the podcast episode. This is Jennifer Allwood. It's great to see you. Oh, as I almost not knock over my podcast mic right at the beginning of this show. Want to chat to you today about a great little coffee shop that I found when I was in Florida recently, and I have some, I think, really like good and deep um, business lessons that I learned from this random coffee shop. Okay. And it's funny because sometimes God will just like drop something in my spirit, like so randomly, which is really interesting considering I have a very chaotic, creative brain, but sometimes I just am so clear on what I hear and I see. And I always try to make sure that I deliver because usually it's never for me only, it's also for me to share with you, right? And so I usually try to deliver it just as quickly as possible so that I don't lose it. So it's still fresh in my brain. And this is one of those situations. Okay. So let me just give you the tiniest bit of the backstory. So Jason and I purchased, I think it was October 31st, November 1st, a brand new property in Miramar Beach, Florida. So Miramar Beach is in between Sandestin and Destin. We're about 15, 20 minutes away from 38, where our other property is. So this one is called Bougie on Miramar Beach. It's spelled with a J for Jennifer and Jason. So Boujee. You can go to bougie on miramarbeach.com. Go ahead and rent it. Pictures should be up by the time this podcast comes out. All the professional pictures were taken last week. It's great. Okay, so we're all excited about it, right? Well, Jason and I are very familiar with the 30A part of the Panhandle in Florida. We are very unfamiliar with the Miramar Beach Destin area. And so, we don't know like all the, insider secrets, the places the locals go. We're still trying to figure out like where's the Target, where's the nearest, place to get sushi, like, just things that when you're new to an area, where do you want to suggest people go? Because as with our other two Airbnbs, also, whenever somebody rents one of our properties, I like to have some suggestions for them, which means I don't like to just look at Yelp. I don't like to just look at Google and find out what's suggested for places like coffee shops, but I want to actually like try it myself, right? So when we started talking about, we purchased this property in Miramar Beach and we started an Instagram for it. And by we, I mean me. I sound French. We did not. I, Jennifer, started a bougie in Miramar Beach. And, but I told Jason, like, we need to like try a bunch of places down here just so that I can suggest different places to our guests. So I start this Instagram account and on occasion, people that are local will end up following me. Maybe they already follow me, for business. Like my friend Julie Spears, for instance, she already was following me, became a client of mine before I realized, oh my gosh, she told me she owns Jules on 30A, which is like a paddleboarding company that I've used now. Every time I go paddleboarding, it's always with Julie from Jules on 30A. So sometimes, it just happens that people in that area will already follow my business account, see that I am now, doing an Instagram for a new property that Jason and I have purchased, and then they'll DM me. So a couple of different people said, hey, you need to go check out this coffee shop called Bistroology. How do I say it that fast without it sounding like I'm slurring? Bistroology. Okay. And I'm like, okay, cool. And one of the couple of times that I've been down there decorating, I've happened to have realized like I've driven by it and I'm like, oh, it's like a half mile away from Bougie and Miramar Beach. That's really cool, right? But I've also thought to myself, okay, it doesn't look like a whole lot from the outside. No offense if you are the owner of Bistroology, if you work there, anything else, but it kind of looks a little bit small. It has a gravel parking lot that isn't like one big, huge lot. It's kind of like divided by a bunch of different, um, oh, what do I want to call it? Not bumpers, but like the things they put in parking lots. What are they called that you pull your wheels up to? But and then it's kind of like if one lot's full, you kind of have to pull around to the side. And so it's not super impressive from the street. It looks kind of small, the gravel stuff, like I said. But whoever has done the artwork on the building, like that says Bistroology, that looks pretty cool. Okay. So I've probably been down there, I would guess 6 times in the last couple of months, completely selling everything out of the condo, replacing all the furniture, managing the remodel, which is my favorite thing to do. It's ready. Okay. Like I said, you can go to bougie on miramarbeach.com or find it on Instagram. You can see it. All right. So the last couple of times down there, I feel like I have a little bit of breathing space. The first couple of times I've been down there for the remodel, it's like every second of every day is meeting with, the wallpaper person, the floor people, or I'm hauling in furniture, whatever. So I haven't had a lot of time to just go looking for a coffee place. But Ava baby, our 17-year-old, was down there with me a month ago or so, and I'm like, hey, let's hit up this place called Bistrology. Side note: I don't think Ava listens to my podcast, so I think it's okay to say one thing we have learned about Ava is she's just much happier when we feed her, and I should have like gathered this sooner. But when she is hungry, she gets hangry. And I'm like, I shouldn't be shocked because I am the same way, you guys. When I'm hungry, I'm hangry. So anyhow, in my head one morning, Ava and I had a really big day, and I'm like, let me feed my daughter first, and then she's going to be good to go, for a long time, just because she is a great shopper. She's actually, I think, I will prophesy over her right now that she will be a better decorator than her mother in the name of Jesus. And so she just has a really good eye for what goes together, what flows together. She's got a great eye for color, all those things. So I'm like, let's go try out this Beasterology. Several people have said I should try it. Let's go. And she's like, okay. Ava and I loved it. So then, like 2 weeks later, Jason and Ava and Ari and I all went down to Florida. So we took Jason there. Ari was way less impressed, because she's 10, but Jason also loved it. And then last week I was there, and my friend Carrie Robina, who you guys have heard me talk about, she's one of my best business buddies. She went down with me to help get a lot of the final things put in place and to do the Airbnb pictures. And I took her to Bistrology and she loved it. Okay. So when I was there with Carrie last week, I had like this download from the Holy Spirit of all these different business lessons that I could share with you guys. And so that's what I want to do in this podcast today. Okay. Because there's a lot that we can learn from a place that I've been to 3 times. It's really close to our condo that I will 1 bajillion% be recommending not only to you, my podcast listeners, which is a lot of people. I mean, we're sliding up on 7 million downloads of my podcast, but also I'll be doing a reel on Instagram, etc. So again, Beasterology people, if you hear this, just know that 95% of this is all so positive for you guys. So, okay. So, like I said, when I had driven by Beasterology in the past, I just kind of thought the outside was a little meh. But what I wanted to tell you guys is that the inside is absolutely adorable. It was so adorable that the first time I was there with just Ava, I said to her, let me take a video for my friend Carrie, because I know Carrie would love to have a coffee shop someday. And it's like all these hanging plants hanging down from the ceiling. And it's got exposed pipes and everything, but the ceiling is painted black and the tables are cute. And it's a whole vibe in there. Okay. So I wanted to tell you that even though I had originally thought the outside was kind of meh based on it looked kind of small, it's not at all small once you get in there. Parking lot, not so great, but the inside is adorable. So here's the lesson that I was taking away from that. The Holy Spirit showed me that for some of you, the first impression you give people is your social media or is your website. And, the first impression I have of Beasterology was just kind of meh. And I was proven totally way wrong. And so, what I want to tell you that the lesson I think was that for some of you, if your social media is meh, you're just going to have to work harder to get people to buy from you. You're going to have to work harder to get them in the door, if you will. Okay. If you don't have a website or your website is meh, you're going to have to work harder to get people to buy. It's not that they won't, but if the outside matches what's inside, and I'm not talking about like what's inside of you, but in terms of what what you're selling, etc. Like, then the sale is just so much easier. So the outside matters. So go get a good website. That was like the first lesson I wanted to tell you. If you don't have a website, if you don't have a landing page, go to equipped360.com to build a landing page or a website. That is my software. Again, it's EQUIPT360.com. It is so much less than other, website building platforms, etc. Go there, okay? Because the outside does matter. You can have an awful website, you can have awful social media, but it will take you longer and you will have to work harder to get a sale. I would have went into Beasterology way before that if the outside had looked a little bit different. Okay, so I wanted to say that. Second thing, when I'm walking from the parking lot up to the front door of Beasterology the first time, I noticed like, oh my gosh, there's all these awards plastered all over the front window. They're, best in the city for this in 2024, best in the city for this in 2023. So-and-so, gave them this award. So-and-so gave them that award. And as I'm walking into, the establishment, that excited me. just to see that, okay, so maybe the outside isn't all that great, but look at all these awards they've gotten. Because here's the thing, we all have kind of a mob mentality to us. We all want to kind of be in on the thing that's really got some momentum behind it. This is why when you see a social media post with like one comment or zero comment, most of the time you are very hesitant to comment. But if you see something with 3,747 comments, you will. It's because a lot of times we don't like to be, kind of the lone ranger, the only one. We want to be in on whatever's got some momentum. So, the lesson that I was learning from just how they have the awards all over the front door is that like your testimonials matter. If you don't have a page on your website where it's like, what people are saying or testimonials or accolades or awards, you need to. Also, you need to have that all over your social media because the awards just basically like plant a seed. Okay, this thing's legit, this thing's good, other people have voted for it, other people love it, etc. If I was coaching Bistrology, I would say this: your social media, your Instagram. I haven't even looked at their Facebook, but your Instagram looks great. Your pictures are phenomenal. What they were lacking was like they have a highlight reel for reviews, but there's only one photo on it, so that's not up to date. And their bio doesn't say anything about like voted best in Miramar Beach or Sandestin or whatever. I would have that on your bio. I would also have just a post on your Instagram feed for a bunch of your awards and have that pinned to the top. If you're brick and mortar, listen up. Those things matter. I can remember for years, my friend Chrissy Huff, who owns RE, which used to stand for Restoration Emporium here in Kansas City. Man, she'd get all these awards every year. And when you see that, like on her website, when you see that she's posting about it, on her different social medias, it just makes you kind of want to be a part of the thing that everybody else is already saying is really good, right? Because we all have a little bit of mob mentality to us. So the lesson again is that your testimonials matter. If you're a business owner, you need to be asking for them. You need to be putting them in all the places. If you're getting awards, all those things, I want to see it on your website. I want to see it on your social media. Like, don't feel like you're bragging. What you're doing is saying, hey, other people think I'm good. You might think I'm good too. Come on in, whether it's to a brick and mortar or a coaching program or whatever. Okay. Next thing that I want to tell you about my 3 trips to Bistrology. Once inside the door of Bistrology, they dazzled and delighted me. Dazzled and delighted. Okay. Here's how the decor, it was adorable. The black on the ceiling, very dramatic, and then all the plants, very welcoming. The food, however, I mean, it's like total food porn. The food comes out so pretty, you guys. I'm still trying to figure out how did they make what I consider to be like the most perfect sunny side up egg I've ever seen. Like it has been consistent all 3 times that I've been there. It's like almost a perfect circle. The yolk has been done the exact same every time because its consistency is so amazing. Like that's dazzling and delighting. After I was there the second time and I'm like, the eggs came out exactly like they did the first time. I had lots of confidence about ordering the same eggs for the third time because I knew what I was going to get. And that sort of confidence matters. That's dazzling and delighting your current clients. So the food is gorgeous, but the coffee, you guys, the coffee is literally just, I'll talk a little bit more about the coffee in a second, but the coffee is so gorgeous. And what I was thinking was this, okay, just, they were dazzling and delighting all of my senses in terms of like everything was so pretty to look at, the food, the decorating, the coffee, the vibe, the whole thing. And that the inside really didn't match the outside. But it was just reminding me that even if you don't have a great website or a great social media, when someone gets inside of your course, your consulting, your membership group, or inside your brick and mortar, dazzle and delight the heck out of them. Give them incredible value because that's what will actually keep them coming back. It's not like you first get them in with your website, with what they see from the street, if you will, okay? But once you get them into the inside of actually working alongside of you, working with you, coming into your brick and mortar, that's what will make them return, repeat, and also relay to others what an incredible job you've done. So that was the lesson that I have for you there. Okay. So first time I'm there, I'm like, okay, all these people are making or ordering these coffees that are coming out to their table looking like a whole meal. I mean, I was like, what is even happening with these coffees? Because some of them were coming out and it's like whipped cream all over the top. But I can see the people in the kitchen making the coffees and they're slathering Nutella around the top of a coffee mug and dipping it in pistachios. Or they're slathering, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, you can see me getting really excited. They're slathering caramel around the top of a coffee mug and then they're covering that in pecans or something. It was like, I'm looking at this coffee and I'm like, this is stinking beautiful. I'm seeing somebody's coffee come out with some sticks coming out of it that are like lit on fire. And I'm like, okay, where are these coffees on the menu? And they're under like specialty coffees. So if you go to Bistrology's Instagram or go to their website, look under specialty coffees. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, their regular coffees are like $5 and $6. Those specialty coffees are going to be like $15, $20. You guys, I was so impressed. Like the last specialty coffee I had, it was $8. And it comes out, what did I get the last time I was there? Oh, I did the cinnamon stick one because I wanted to know. I think it was a cappuccino. And so it is whipped cream on the top. I don't even like whipped cream, but I still drank it. I still ate it. And it's got like a design in the top because it really is, a bistro. It was amazing. And then they slathered, I think, caramel around the edges with some cinnamon and nuts. And then they had cinnamon sticks coming out the top that are lit on fire. Okay. $8, $8 for that. And I'm like, this is amazing. So again, I'm being dazzled and delighted, but here is what I want you to understand. The lesson is I thought that that would cost so much more because there was incredible value in it. And the value was basically super like photographable and taggable. I'll come to that next. Okay. But I would have thought that that specialty coffee would have cost a lot more, but it didn't. And the lesson to me was this, like, that's their tripwire. That's their like, see this thing on social media or see this thing when you're in Bistrology and you see other people order it. And it's kind of like their low ticket item almost for, I mean, they had lower priced coffees, just for black coffee or whatever, but this is like pretty, it's got a lot of value. And I thought to myself, this is stinking genius of them because every business has to have something that's not terribly expensive but that offers like fabulous value that's going to hook people as clients. The whole reason I took Jason back and then took my friend Carrie back is because Ava and she tried, you guys, this smoothie that came out with a popsicle in the top. I kid you not. And like huge chunks of pineapple and a strawberry dangling off the side. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a $20 drink. Nope, not at all. And I'm like, okay, this is like their tripwire. It's their low ticket item that you just almost can't help yourself but to order it because it's so stinking pretty and there's so much value in it, right? Every single one of you business owners needs to have a tripwire. If you have a brick and mortar, you need to have something that is, like Bistrology, something that's got a lot of value, but not terribly expensive that you can get people in the door with just to order. Okay. If you are a coach, a consultant, a instructor, a teacher, you have a membership group, a course or whatever, do you currently have something that's inexpensive? I'm going to say under the $40 price point where they can order once and get a ton of value for it. I even like it better probably if it's under the $20 price point. We have a branding guide. It's a 4-part branding series. That's $37. It's at jenniferallwood.com/brand. You can go like check that out. That's my tripwire. This is a lot of value. This is 4 separate trainings on building a personal brand for $37. Other people would charge $397 for that in a course. Does that make sense? So what do you have right now that's super fabulous that can really hook people? Then the other thing about their specialty coffees that I already mentioned is so photographable and so taggable. So photographable. I mean, Ava and I, pictures, tagged them on Instagram. Jason and Ava and I, when we went back the second time, Jason, not of course, because he doesn't have social media, he's not on that. But Ava and I both, posted pictures. Then when I went back with Carrie, she's taking a video. I'm posting pictures. The lesson from that is this: have something that people want to tell others about. Whether it's a contest, whether it's a prize, whether it's a testimonial because you helped them grow so large, whether it's, I don't know what it is, but have something or make an ask where you ask people, hey, would you go do this for me? On occasion, I remember to ask you, my podcast listeners, hey, would you go give our podcast a review? Because when I want somebody to be a guest on my podcast and I reach out to them, they can't tell how many downloads I have. I can tell them, hey, we're nearing 7 million downloads, but they may think she's full of crap. give me proof of that, because unless I screenshot to them our analytics, they can't actually verify that. What they can do is they can go over to the Jennifer Allwood show and they can see that we have 1,500 or 1,900 or whatever reviews that it is right now. And they can go, okay, this girl's been around for a while. She's got a lot of reviews. This is legit. So that's why I ask for reviews. As I was sitting in there and I was, there wasn't any ask from Bistroology for us to like share their specialty coffees with a tag, but you almost can't help it, right? And so for those of you that don't have a physical product, I just want to remind you, sometimes you just got to give people an ask. So I'll ask you guys, if you have found value in this podcast, would you share this episode with at least 2 other entrepreneurs? And would you go over to wherever you listen to podcasts and just give it a 5-star review, or type out a few words about how you don't hate me and you think this is amazing? Because those sorts of things matter. And that was the lesson I got. Okay. Last lesson I want to share with you is this. I did look up their story online because I wanted to know, like, who are the owners? How did they start it? I found out they are building another Bistroology in Pensacola, Florida, which is about an hour up the road from us. And I did find some negative reviews. And here's the lesson on that. Listen, every single business owner is going to get negative reviews. Every single business owner, because you're not for everyone. And those of you who are scared of having any negative thing written about you on the internet, you just need to get over yourself. I mean, if Taylor Swift can handle what happened on the at the beginning of the Super Bowl yesterday, our Kansas City Chiefs did not win, but there's been tons of content out there today where they panned to Taylor at the beginning when apparently there were some boos, and she'll shake it off like Taylor always does. And by the way, I'm not a Swiftie, but I always like appreciate how people handle or just ignore, and by handle, I mean ignore stuff on the internet. Like, good for her. She's not jumping to her defense on every reel she sees coming out, because she knows haters are going to hate, birds are going to chirp. You can be the juiciest peach in the world. And there will still be someone who doesn't like peaches. You can have the best specialty coffees in the world. There'll still be somebody who doesn't like it. And so just know that you don't have to respond to any negativity, and that there will be people who don't like what you do, and you've got to get okay with that. If you need to hear this even at a deeper level, I want you to Google Jennifer Allwood podcast, episode 449. On episode 449, I talk about, should you even respond to, or what should you do with negativity, negative comments and things. But that was the lesson, that I'm sitting here singing their praises because I think the place was stinking amazing. I can't wait to go back. But when I looked up, some of their reviews, there were some people that were unimpressed, and that's just going to happen. Okay. One last thing I will mention. They were very consistent all 3 times that I've been there. Very consistent with their greet time, how quickly the food came out, what the food looked like, how the food tasted, etc. And the lesson that you can take away from a business owner is this: because they were so consistent, I was more likely to be a repeat of what I got before. I knew how the eggs came out those first 2 times, so I got the eggs the next time. I knew, now what to expect, that it wasn't just a fluke, that I had one good experience and then a couple of bad follow-up ones. And that consistency makes me more likely to recommend them to all of our renters at Bougie on Miramar Beach. So remember that, like, if you can be consistent in how you show up, what your trainings include, what you give to people, how you, follow up with DMs, be consistent in, coming back and replying to some comments. Like, consistency matters. And I think we need to sometimes remember that as business owners. So listen, when you can dazzle and delight people, when you can offer a lot once they're inside, when you can be consistent, people can really overlook things like a gravel driveway, or, not the most impressive parking lot. And for those of you that don't have, brick and mortar, I'm talking about, again, your social media or your website. But once you get people in, there are things that you have to do in order to have a really good experience and to get them to be coming back. It was so fun going in and just falling in love with a place that's super close again to our rental. And their social media, like I said, their Instagram is amazing. You can go give them a follow there. If you're in the Miramar Beach area and haven't been, please go. If you, are in Destin and have never driven over, it's worth the short drive. But I will 100% be back, and I'm a customer for life unless I have a really bad experience. And I think that there's just things that all of us business owners can learn from that. So I hope this was helpful for you today. If it was, would you do me a solid? Send this to 2 business owners. Wink, wink, wink. See how I did that? Leave me a podcast review if you would. And go give Bistroology a like on their Instagram. because they do a great job, and they have no idea who I am. They don't, this means I'm not being paid to say anything. Like this is just me learning some things, the Holy Spirit showing me some things that I felt like I was really supposed to share with you. So hope that is helpful today. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you would just give me one takeaway in the comments below. I don't know if you know this, but every time you comment, it does affect the algorithm. And so then podcast will show up in other people's YouTube feed more likely. So appreciate it if you could do that. Thank you guys for always being here. I'm always rooting for you, trying to do whatever I can to just, you know, help share with you the things that I've learned that are going to help you to grow your business, which will grow your impact, your income, and your influence in Jesus' name. So see you guys on the next episode. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
Honey, you're going to have to start drinking coffee. This is what your mama's going to tell you, because I want to take you there. Also, don't tell your bride to be, but I bought her a really, I think, nice gift card to take her, for her to go there with all of her bridesmaids for the bachelorette party. So I got her that. I'm going to make her a little basket of goodies, but